What if there are, how many billion people we have? 8 billion people. Multiverse is also 8 billion. That kind of struck me while reading another book recently. Scientifically or logically, however you want to think, spiritually, however you want to think, every one of us sees the world slightly, ever so slightly different than the other person. The other 7,999 billion people, whatever the number is. Each of us, I will see something very different, if not everything, something that another person sees. We don't see the facts according to as they are. Here's how the science of the brain works, right? How we work. It's known factor that we, subconsciously we react and formulate opinion, our intuition, so on, so whatever you want to call it, react certain emotions. All that those are based on our programming, on our previous experiences, what we learned from our parents, so on, culture, so on. So many different factors. There's millions of factors that shapes our thinking process, the view we look at other people. Thereby, the universe we're looking at is different. I'm not talking about table being a chair, chair being a table, just by looking at it differently. I'm talking about how the world occurs to us when this thing happens. And that means we are each seeing the same world in a different view or universe. And that's kind of a different way, I think, to look at multiverse, right? Forget the science fiction version of it where it potentially you shift, you go to a different universe and you have a totally different everything, right? That's one way to look at it. But since each of us experience the world differently based on our experiences, programming, environment, so on and so forth, we are living in our own. Why is that important? It's important to remember that when we're talking to each other, or I don't know, kind of like blaming someone else, or thinking somebody is pure evil or somebody is pure goodness. Whatever the case is, not that I'm saying, again, when I talk about these things, right, it doesn't mean you condone bad behavior, but understand what they're doing or how they're doing it is totally shaped in their own universe. In their universe, it's all right, even if they're doing the worst thing in the world. It's a lot to think about, right? It's a different way to look at. Anyway, that struck me. So anybody else ever thought about that? But this is this, I believe, if we keep that in mind, will help us at least empathize with another person, even if we don't agree with them, even if they do the worst thing. Empathize, but not agree or condone them. Not support them in the bad behavior, right? Whatever that is. But at least you can understand that their whole world is different than you or me, so on and so forth. Anyway, hopes that gets somebody to think differently.